Hello and welcome to Toku Gamers, a match preview of Leeds United against West Ham United. Before we get into the video, I'd like to point you in the direction of our Patreon offering. The link is in the description below, not either direction. Gonzo's pointing at that one, not for that. For the link, it's in the description below. You don't get any of that if you're a patron, unless you pay a lot of money. Actually,
the top tier.
Yeah, maybe the top tiers. But if you would like more match day content, so around the match day, we've got an opposition preview which is live tonight or tomorrow, which is taking a look at how Leeds will line up. Quite easy this week. We'll get on to that why. Then on Friday morning, we'll have a morning video, a little discussion as to what we can expect from the game, how our feelings might have changed since doing the preview. And then we've got the player ratings immediately after the game. Lots of matchday content for you, as well as other stuff. The link is in the description below. Gonzo, as always, can I get your thoughts on our opponents, Leeds United?
Yeah, well, it seems like they were gone a long time, really. They flirted with success. I say, obviously, I'm not talking about the 70s and stuff like that here. They flirted with success under Peter Reedsdale. David O'Leary, whatever happened to him, by the way, got themselves into a lot of financial trouble, and then it took a very, very long time to come back. I think Ken Bates might have taken them over. I think they sold their ground. I think they bought it back. I think they then sold their ground again. They had this Massimo Cellino came in. I think he may have sold the ground. Got themselves into a bit of trouble. Got themselves relegated again. And they got this Radiazani, something like that. I think he bought it 3 or 4 years ago. He's got quite a bit of money. I think he bought it for 950 million. He's worth about 500 million himself. And gradually got themselves into a position where they could look like they weren't an absolute basket case of a football club, quite frankly. I think the key was getting Bielsa in. He put the money up for Bielsa, and the rest, as they say, is relatively recent history.
Yeah, when you say, sometimes on social media you see these silly posts that's like, what would your ideal Premier League look like? Pick any 20 teams in the country. Who would you have in there? Leeds United are always one of the first teams that springs to my mind. They're within the top 5 or 10 teams. I say Leeds United, I'd have them in there. Not that I ever publish my silly table. I'll just think it. It's there in their own way, because I don't join in those silly games. But I think he's done a good job. They've obviously come close to getting promoted a couple of times before they actually got promoted. But I think that does them in good stead, actually. I think it builds an experience of a couple of players and stuff to get them up, get them another extra additions in those championship years, good quality players for that standard of football to get them into the Premier League. Players who are good enough to step up from the championship and do it in the Premier League. It doesn't always happen, but you look at the Leeds team, and with a couple of decent purchases this summer, you look at it and think, yeah, they'll be alright. Not many people are tipping them to go back down this season, which I think says a lot about their manager, their recruitment, and the players they've got. Sometimes you can tick 2 of those boxes, maybe even just one of those boxes, and it's enough to get you into the Premier League. But I think to stay in the Premier League and stay in the league comfortably, which is what a lot of people are expecting Leeds to do, I think you probably have to tick all 3. And I think Leeds, so far, look like they've done that. Certainly scoring a lot of goals, though. But do you expect them to stay up this season as well? Is it fair to say that that's an expectation?
I think they'll stay up comfortably. I think they've attacked it. I think he's a really good coach. I mean, he's in many respects set the blueprint. A lot of these managers and these coaches who we're familiar with now, household names like Pep Guardiola and Pochettino, and there are many others, they studied at the school of Bielsa. Literally, they went and joined him when they were young, aspiring coaches, went and joined in with his training sessions. And they basically all play a version of his philosophy, which is the high press, the early press. Not that he invented it. I mean, Sachi at AC Milan, many, many years ago would say that. But certainly in the way they retain the ball, the way they attack, just that whole style of play, he has influenced an awful lot. He is a very, very good manager. West Ham were linked with him, of course, a couple of times, but we decided against it because his English wasn't very good, which it isn't. I'm sure it's better than he pretends it to be. Still use the translator after every game. But you feel that he gets so much out of these players, Geo, and you're going to ask me in a minute which players, but he really gets, to use a cliche, 110% out of players. He gets more out of players, and their talent really should deliver, and I think they'll stay up comfortably.
Yeah, I think they'll stay up comfortably as well. There's no surprise to see them hit the ground running, if you like, and even when they've got beat this season, they've been impressive. You've watched them lose, and you almost feel like they've got something from the game. More people spoke about their defeat when they got beat 4-3 by Liverpool. More people spoke about their defeat than they did about Aston Villa beating Liverpool 7-2. Leeds almost got more credit for that loss than what Aston Villa did. I think Bielsa's a fantastic coach. I think he's one of the best in the league. He comes across as very almost like crazy, eccentric. You look at him, you think, crikey, this guy's off his nut. But I love that about him. There's something about him that you just love. He's very intelligent. You can tell he's obsessed with football and the way football works and stuff. And I just think, I almost do wish we got him. I know you said we turned around. I remember him turning us down, if I remember correctly. I think he might have sniffed the opportunity to come to us. I don't know if he met Sullivan in that and then
maybe that's what did it, yeah.
But some managers do that. Some managers wait. Some managers want a project almost. And I think there was something to do with Bielsa's sort of lack of long-term commitment possibly when we were linked with him, if I remember right. I can't remember which side of it was concerned about it, but I think they were a bit worried that he wouldn't stick around for too long. But I think he was a bit like Hasenhüttl, where he was waiting for the right team. He's gone to Leeds and thought, this is a club I can come to, stamp the Bielsa way on. And he's done that. And the club have backed him. The club have supported him even when he's methods of sort of drawing, not necessarily negative press, but all that Spygate stuff in that. Leeds United, the fans love him, and the club stood behind him and said, no, that's the way our manager works, we're going to back him. And I think, do you think they're going to be the next stable Premier League club, if you want, like what Southampton currently are, if you like, where they're in no danger of going down, they've got a lucky bit of season, they might actually break into the top 8 or something with a couple of good signings?
The foundations of Southampton are far more solid than the Leeds foundations. If they carry on spending money like they are, yes, because they spent 90 million in the last transfer window. However, a large part of their success is based upon how good their manager is. And you just spoke about reliability of him sticking around. Leeds worried that he might not stick around. They were even worried going into this season that he might not stick around, and I think he's perhaps signed a 1-year extension to his contract. He has that air about him. You get the impression with Southampton, and I always have done for years and years, that if a player goes, it's okay, they'll bring another decent one in. If a manager goes, it's okay, they'll bring another decent one in. They've got such a massively strong foundations in terms of the academy, the scouting, and the amount of coaches, UEFA standard A coaches they have there. It's almost like a one-man's. It's got that vibe about it, Geo, that one-man club vibe. So I wouldn't be so sure. I think he has to be there. I just hopefully while he's there, the owner is building an infrastructure behind him. So if he doesn't, then it could all go sour very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's very valid. One thing I will say is that Premier League Leeds United is far bigger and far more attractive to a lot more managers than a Championship Leeds United. So Bielsa's almost done the hard bit, which is make the club more attractive to other managers in his position. And you've got to look at the way they've recruited and how they've dealt with Bielsa. I think it would appeal to a lot of managers. I think they're one club that could probably punch above their weight when they go to look for a new manager. A lot of clubs, like ourselves, when we were getting rid of Pellegrini, we struggled. We were ringing up everybody and hardly anybody wanted to talk to the owners, never mind come in. I think if Leeds was to become available at the end of the season, I think they'd actually go get a better manager than what a mid-table Premier League club should be getting, if you like. I think someone would look at that and think, actually, you know what, this is a young upcoming manager, so they might think that's a really good opportunity. Steven Gerrard, someone like that maybe, might look at Leeds United and think, you know what, I'm going to have that. That'll be my first Premier League club. Something like that. I think they'd be quite attractive. Final question, as always, the players you admire, please.
Well, again, I just think they're bigger than the sum of their parts. I really do. None. Well, I say none. I'm going to go and mention a couple. Look, any club that can sign a player called Cock have got to be admired. Let's be perfectly frank about that. Calvin Phillips, I do think is sensational. By the way, I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. He seems to have it all. I think he's got a little bit unlucky with injury, and I mean minor injuries that have almost kept him out on those big games just before he might have been able to stamp his authority on an England performance. I absolutely think the biggest threat to Declan Rice's place is not Harry Winks or even Jordan Henderson. I think it's this kid. I think it's Phillips. I think he looks absolutely sensational. I think he's destined for big things. I did like Helder Costa. Helder Costa used to be at Wolves, and I believe he was on loan at at Leeds, and then they made the signing permanent. But he doesn't. Every time I sort of look, I want this Costa player. He doesn't seem to be in and around the team. And I know they spent big on was it Marino? They spent a lot, 30, 40 million, something like that, on a player. Again, I sort of look, and it doesn't seem to have featured. I don't know why. I'm sure you'll enlighten me. And the big one was they seem to spend all summer chasing White from Brighton. And they didn't get him, and he was on loan there last season. He was a massive part of them getting promoted, possibly the best centre half in the Championship last season, and Brighton managed to hold on to him. So I think that's another reason they've done really well. The player you've got to talk about is Bamford, though, who is every inch the journeyman striker, who looked to have failed at almost every club he'd ever been at, and Bielsa's. How has he managed that? I haven't seen the goal scoring charts for 2 or 3 weeks, but last time I looked, he was up there. He looked like he was in for the golden boot. So how's Bielsa managed to get a journeyman footballer up to be one of the best strikers in the league? Which, if you looked at him in ability, you'd think he wasn't. I mean, to be fair, he should probably have one more goal as well, because he had one chalked off for offside, which wasn't. Did you see it with the arm and all the rest of it? It wasn't offside at all. Aside from that, I don't know an awful lot about their players, Gio, to be perfectly honest with you. As I say, I just look at them and I see a very, very good team.
Yeah, I think Rodrigo Moreno, the guy you're talking about, has been playing. He sort of plays behind Bamford. Bamford's been sort of keeping the striker position. I thought he was probably one of the biggest players that there was a lot of eyes on going into the season. There were a lot of questions. Can he do it in the Premier League? And a lot of people felt the answer was no. He does waste a lot of chances, but he makes and creates and gets in position for so many that actually if he misses 2, it's all right because he gets 4 a game. So as long as he scores one of the 4, he's all right. Whereas you might play for another club, you only get 1 chance a game. You've got to take the bloody thing. Whereas at Leeds, his movement's just fantastic, and I think he creates a lot of the chances himself. I think Calvin Phillips, I agree with you. I think there's room for him and Declan Rice in the England squad. If only Southgate would switch to 4 at the back, then there is space for 2 of them in the starting 11 even. But I do think in the squad of 25 players, I think they're both in there. I think Calvin Phillips is an unbelievable player. I hate why people compare the 2 and say you can only have 1. I think you can have both. They're both just fantastic. Rafinha's looked good. He's keeping Costa out of the team now. He's looked good now. He's coming to the side. And I think Harrison's looked really good as well. Stepped up and it creates a decent amount of chances. I quite like a lot of their players. I think Klitsch has had a really good season. Luke Ayling looks really, really good at right back. Might be centre back for our game. Bielsa's got his cock out for this one. He needs surgery.
Right. Oh, is he?
Yeah, cock needs surgery.
That's a bonus for us, really.
Yeah, it sounds quite painful, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I think cock's out for a couple of months. So, but anyway, that's enough about.
It's the wrong time of year for all that, quite frankly. Yeah. There was one other one. I saw him play. I think his name is Roberts, and he's Welsh, right? And I've seen him play once or twice. Looks brilliant. Very low centre of gravity, twisty, turny type of. Really good player. Again, I don't see him in the team. I must make an admission here, though, on this one. You mentioned Rodrigo Moreno. I thought they were separate players. Clearly, I have been seeing, but they've been calling him Rodrigo, right? That's right, yeah. They've been calling him Rodrigo. I've been watching it thinking, where's this Moreno geezer? They spent 30-odd million on this geezer from Valencia. They won't even play him. But there you go, yes.
It's the same player, Gonzo, yeah.
I thought they were 2 separate players. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. We've got to say a quick thank you to one of our subscribers, one of our patrons, one of our regular viewers as well. I'll let Gonzo say thank you because I pronounce his name differently to how English people pronounce it.
Peter Canning?
Yeah, well, go with his other name, please.
Hold on. Well, first of all, thank you, Peter. You're a gentleman. Peter knows why we're saying thank you, and he knows that I think he's a gentleman. What I'm more interested in, how do you say Canning?
Well, you've mugged me right off here, and you've done it quite well because his patron name or whatever was it? How do you say it? Derby? Is that how you say it? Derbyshire?
He's
Derbyshire.
Yeah, he's from Derbyshire. Yeah,
I call it Derbyshire. So. To me, it's Derbyshire, Pete. He got in touch last night and he made a little Christmas donation to us to help us out, get us a couple of drinks. So just want to say a massive thank you to Pete. Now moving on to West Ham.
You pronounced Pete correctly, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. We're gonna discuss the same player again, Gonzo. We've discussed him for the since he joined, but Saeed Benrahma. This time though, we've lost a game. every time we won. It was difficult to say, well, we should change it because of the myth. But now we've lost a game. Does that open up the opportunity for Moyes to make changes to this starting 11 and finally start Said Benrahma?
I think he will. I think he should, and I think he will. I think Benrahma's starting. I do, because I think Moyes is changing the shape for this one. So I think I fancy Benrahma starting at left wing ahead of. As I don't think Masuaku's playing in this one, I would imagine.
Interesting. Would you like to see 4 at the back for this one yourself, or would you like to stick with the 3?
Well, this is really interesting. This is really interesting. I think the 5 at the back has worked. Okay, I really do. But yeah, I think it may well change. I think it may well change for this one. And this is a really interesting one because they're going to be coming at us like nobody's business. As you say, he's got his what's it out, and I believe he's got another one out as well. So he might be missing 2 central defenders. I think against a team like Leeds, who are going to have lots of possession, going to have lots of shots, you've got to attack them. And I think that's very, very important. I don't want to see us sit there soaking up the pressure. I want us to. I thought we had our attacking mojo back against Man United. Okay, we lost, but I thought we had that swagger, that Wolverhampton Wanderers, that Leicester swagger about us. I thought we'd sat tight for the other games, but I thought we went for it. I want to see us go for it again. Within the parameters of what formation, I'm not overly fussed, but I do think Benrahma is going to have to be a massive part of that, because I think it's just time to take the shackles off, Gio. It really is. I think we got to go for it. And if they've got centre-backs out and they've got replacements and reserves or young players in or whatever it is, then we have to test them. And the way to test them is to have your technically your best players on there, your best finishers, your best crossers, and I'm sure Benrahma is at least in one, if not more, of those categories.
Yeah, it's Llorente, the other player that you're thinking of, that's out as well. I agree. I think it's time to see Said Benrahma start. I've been very much like we have to play Fornals for his defensive contribution, but I've sort of given up with that argument. I don't think he's even been that good at that in the last few games. I don't think off the ball he works hard and runs around, but I don't think he's been as effective chasing down, tracking back and that. I would like to see us stick with 3 at the back, because I think if you do go to the whole 4, Benrahma's got a lot of defensive work to do, and it makes me nervous. He's an attacking player. I'd like to see him almost have a free role, so I'd like to stay with 3 at the back, and I thought we created plenty of opportunities against Man United playing with 3 at the back. So it's not like we were lacking going forward, we were just wasteful, we just didn't take our opportunities. So I'd like to see Benrahma come in there with as little defensive actions as possible attached to his name. Bowen's also going to have to then do the running back more than Benrahma in there, but we need to, for the same reasons I think Leeds are scoring. I'm very confident we will not keep a clean sheet. Even if we sat back and tried to play for a 0-0, I don't think we'll manage. I think Leeds will score. Therefore, we need to score at least 1 in order to get something from the game. And it could be a very end-to-end game, this one, actually. This one could be a right good ding-dong if both teams go. Leeds will go for it, we know that. And Bielsa's announced his starting 11. He's told the world what his starting 11 is for Friday already. He's already said this. Has he? Yeah, he's named his 11. He's named his starting 11. So that's my 11. What are you going to do about it? And I like that. I like that swagger. That to me is a manager. He's done it before, but that to me is a manager that says, I'm not worried about you. I'll tell you what my team's going to be. I'll tell you my tactics. I'll tell you my formation. What are you going to do about it? And actually, I think almost, if anything, it probably puts reverse psychology into the opposition manager. We think, crikey, now we have to plan for these players. He's told us what we've now got to go do what he says. Said Benrahma's got to start. It's the only change I would do. But I'll tell you what, Masuaku's a bit lucky for me. He's been a bit average at best in the last few games. I think he's very lucky we don't have someone else that can play that role. I'd almost be tempted to put Diop in and move Creswell to left wing back, because Creswell better at crossing than him.
Well, I think you may well get your wish, to be perfectly honest with you, for this one. Well, I know you've been you went to the North Pole, didn't you? Went riding reindeer at the weekend, so you went around at the weekend. So I don't know if you saw my video, but I was quite scathing about Masuaku. I thought he was very, very poor, and I'd be surprised if we saw him in the team for this one.
Anyway, any other changes to starting 11 you'd like to see? Or
Harrison's not that quick, is he? So I take it he's announced Harrison's playing.
He
So
has.
Harrison's tidy, but he's not that fast. So I'd probably keep it as it is on the right side. All things being equal, I'd keep it roughly the same, but I would take Fornals out and put Benrahma in. That's what I would do. Although I do expect the shape to change for this one. So going within the parameters of that, I think you'll probably find Fornals. I think you'll find Masuaku out. Fornals playing in the central area, and then you'll find Benrahma on the left of, a sort of left winger, basically.
I'll tell you what, Gonzo, that made me nervous because they'll rip us apart with 4 at the back, I think. I think Villa did it. I think Villa, while we went toe-to-toe with Villa in the second half, we were very lucky to come out of that with the 3 points, given the VAR goal, the missed penalty, and I thought they created more chances than... Well, they definitely did.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong. It depends. I'm still not sure. And when I say I'm not sure, I can't. I'm interested to find out whether Moyes, whether the philosophy is shape is king for Moyes. That's it. He's decided on that shape, or whether he's just playing that shape because he doesn't have very good wide defenders. I don't know. Both arguments are great for both, but I don't know. So I'm not sure about that. I don't like that one either, Gio, because I think, as you alluded to just before, it means we'll find Benrahma defending for large parts of the game. I don't want that. I want a liberated Benrahma who can stay near the striker, stay near Sebastian Haller. So we'll see. It would worry me too, though.
Interested. Leeds have named their 11. I don't have it to hand. I don't know. I probably could tell you 9 of the 11 off the top of my head, but unusual tactic from Bielsa. Well, not unusual. It's not unusual for Bielsa, but it's unusual for a other manager to name it. You were smiling when I told you that. What was your thought process?
Yeah, no, I think he is what you described earlier. I think he is a character. I do think he's a massive character. I think there's. I like it. I like people like that. England's rugby coach Eddie Jones is a bit like that. He doesn't care. He's not as free spirited in the way he lets the team play as Bielsa is, but he sees the press conference as an opportunity to get messages out there. And I think it's been a little while since we've seen that. We're used to it. We were spoilt with it under the Ferguson era, because it seemed like Ferguson and Wenger and Mourinho and all that. We were all going at it, and the press conference became part of the ritual. So I like it. I don't mind it. But he's not going to get a rise out of Moyes. Moyes is not going to do that because Moyes is deadpan. Moyes is straight. He won't. So look, he's got his reasons for doing it. I don't think Moyes is going to start changing tactics because of it. I don't think it's one of those funny ones. I don't think he's going to be a surprise. I don't know if you remember when Mourinho sat there and named the opposition team. I can't even remember what team it was. He said, "Yeah, they'll play." Everyone knew it anyway, but the interesting thing was him saying it, and he went and named his team. I just wonder if it is because he does switch his team around a little bit, not much. But he also sometimes changes shape, and he sometimes changes personnel within that shape. And if you look through the starting lineups, which I did this afternoon, the starting lineup changes a little bit, but more or less the same. What I think it does do is it gives a vote of confidence, early vote of confidence to his players. Say, there you go, you're playing at the weekend. And he's saying it publicly. Maybe it's just that more than anything, but I do like it, a bit of naughtiness, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I love it as well. The only thing you don't know is who's playing centre-back, because they've got centre-back injuries. He's named his 11, and Cooper, the Scotland player, he'll be one centre-back, but we don't know who's going to be playing with him. So in naming his 11, everybody now does the guesswork, but everyone looks at it and goes, well, it could be Phillips, but it could be Ayling. But as soon as you move Luke Ayling into there, Stuart Dallas has to come to right back. Then that means the left back opportunity, the left back spot. So about 4 players shuffle around, and you put Luke Ayling there, but you put Phillips there, they all shuffle around again. So actually half the team nearly changes, and it's a 50-50 choice. I just think it's interesting what he's done. I think it very much puts the momentum in Moyes. Like you said, Moyes won't rise to it, but there's just something about it. I'll tell you what though, my thoughts are with the Leeds United in the know. He's not needed. Ex-Leeds United employees like I've got an exclusive news. I know the starting 11.
Oh, those.
Brilliant. Anyway, you confident for this one?
I am now. I wasn't. I thought we were going to lose it. I thought we were going to lose this game up until I saw the news today that they had 2 centre halves out. But well, okay. Obviously, a large part of that, Moyes has to go for it now. But I was a little bit fearful of their not their. It's like it's like a tsunami there. It's like wave after wave after wave, which is not a tsunami at all, is it? Which is just one wave. It's like lots of waves. points going in. And I was fearful of that, but that's a weakness at the back, particularly if they've got to shuffle people around. And I know Dallas doesn't mind in that sense because he's played in different positions already this season. However, that's a lot of players to be moving around, and you don't really want to play Phillips back there. He has played there, I know that, but I think there's an opportunity. I think it's a massive opportunity for someone like Jarrod Bowen to come in and get some goals, actually. And I think it's also a massive opportunity for us to get some corners, which have looked good again. Back to our set pieces looked really good again, and for us to win some headers as well. So I am a lot more confident now.
I think the thing is, I know they got 2 centre backs missing, but only one was going to start. Cooper was going to start.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I know they are still missing one. I think Koch would have probably started and stuff, but he's been preparing for this all week. He hasn't hit him on the Friday morning a player's injured or something. He's known all week that these players are out, so he's well prepared for it. The positions he's way to put Luke Ayling and both Cam Phillips have both played centre back this season already, so it's not strangers going into unknown roles and stuff. And I'm not confident for this one at all, Gonzo. I just think if a side really attack us, I think we can be a bit open, and I just think Leeds are far too aggressive on and off the ball. I think they can be direct. They're quite pacey, not necessarily in terms of fast runners, but in terms of shifting the ball left and right and front to back, they are quite quick. And when out of possession, they press you, and I think that will put a bit of pressure onto us. We have quite a few hoofers of the ball, Balbuena, Creswell. They just boot it, and if they get a bit of pressure, all of them, they just belt it. And we don't have the runner up front in Antonio to chase it. We've got Sebastian Allaire, and I just think that plays into Leeds' hands a little bit. I think a few of our players have been, the last 3 wins prior to the Man United defeat, the last 3 wins, I don't think we played particularly well in. When we did the review, we almost thought no one was that good. I think there's too many players sort of out of form at the minute. I think Masuaku's been poor. I think Solchek and Rice have been okay, but not amazing. I think Bowen's been wasteful. While Bowen was very lively against Man United, I thought he missed a hell of a lot of chances. You can't do that. I think Fornals has been poor. Sebastian Allaire doesn't fit the system. And it's quite funny actually. We were 5th. We get beat by Leeds, who are currently 14th. Leeds are equal points with us.
Yep.
That's how tight Premier League is. Newcastle are 3 points behind us, and I think they've been absolutely crap this season. So it depends how you look at it. We're not that far off the top, but I'll tell you what, there's a few teams just behind us who are not having that great a season as well. So it's funny, isn't it? And I'm just not confident at all. I think Leeds will score at least a couple on Friday night, and I'm not often confident we're going to get beat. This one I am, Gonzo, which is harsh because I thought Man United, I thought the first hour, I thought we were fantastic. I thought we were really, really good. But I don't think Leeds United will be as crap as Man United were. Leeds will not play that poor. So, anyway, can I get your final thoughts if you have any, and your score prediction, please?
Yeah, well, listen, I was with you. Honestly, I was with you. I had us down for a loss for this one. I told anyone that wanted to listen, I was really worried about this game. I think they're good where we're bad, And that being said, I saw something. I saw a change against Man U. I saw a willingness to attack. And I think when we attack like that, we're a threat to any team. I do think we'll threaten their defence. So I think that's so. Then the question is, can they undo ours? Now, a lot of it is gonna be down to whether Masuaku plays or not, and the reason being is if that changes the shape. If the shape changes stays the same, I think we can shut them out. I think we can make them score no goals, actually, I must say, because we were undone by individual brilliance. And I don't think they've got individual brilliance. I think they've got, as organised as we are at the back, they're organised like that in their attack. I look at it and I think their attacks look well drilled. I mean, really nice, beautiful, look, pretty patterns and all the rest of it, but I do think they're drills. And I think that's slightly different to what we saw Mason Greenwood do. I think that's slightly different to what Paul Pogba did and stuff like that. I'm not saying they don't have players capable of it. They don't have that class of player and Rashford and that. They just don't. So for that reason, and for the reason that we say about the disruption possibly, I am actually going to go for a West Ham win. I think we might win 2-0.
Ooh, I think they do have some players capable of that individual brilliance. Though, yeah, when they beat Everton at Goodison Park, that Rafinha scored from about 30 yards out. I think they create a lot of chance. I think we will score though. I do think we'll cause some trouble. I think if we attack like we did against Man U, we will get chances. Their defence is good, but it's very open. It's a very open defence because their fullbacks attack plenty as well, and that will play into our hands. The lineups are interesting, but we'll do the build-up show. It's just before 7 p.m. on Friday night. We'll do the build-up show where we'll see West Ham's formation. We know Leeds is one, so we can do that bit. We can pre-record the Leeds one and have just take 10 minutes.
Save ourselves 5
minutes. Yeah, we'll just play a 10-minute clip about us talking about the Leeds 11 and go away. But I think a big part will be, and if we don't change it, maybe if we do change it, I'll be even less confident. But I'm going to go Leeds United to win 3-2.
Nice.
I think both teams will score. I think it's going to be a right good old boxing match. You have a hit and we'll have a hit kind of thing. I've seen both teams waste a lot of chances this season. We did it against Man United. I've seen Leeds even against Everton. They could have scored 4 and they had to took a 30-yard strike, but they could Bamford a couple of chances, they hit the woodwork a couple of times. I think I'm expecting a good game. Anyway, myself and Gonzo are going to disappear. If you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We'll be live just before 7 o'clock on Friday with a match build-up, taking a look at the West Ham lineup and the Leeds United lineup, and then we'll have a live watch along throughout the game, followed by a match review. Like I said earlier, if you'd like to check us out on Patreon, it's patreon.com/HammersChat. Link is in the description. You can support the channel from as little as £3.50. It's £3 plus VAT a month, so it's just about £4. If you would like to support us, you've got to spare £4 this month that you wouldn't mind a little bit extra Hammers Chat video content, wouldn't mind supporting us. Links in the description. We've got a money off offer at the minute as well for Christmas and running up until New Year. Then we'll remove it. So exclusive here. Gonzo, I'll see you Friday night.
You will. See you later.